Leo and Simon didn't hate each other. They were something much more dangerous. They were mirrors. For 60 years, if Leo bought a house, Simon bought a bigger one. If Simon's son went to Ivy League, Leo's son had to go to Oxford. They spent their entire lives running a race, only to realize at the very end that the finish line was a hospital ward. And the prize? A lifetime of looking sideways instead of looking ahead. It started in the 3rd grade, a spelling bee. Leo won, Simon cried. In the 10th grade, it was the 100-meter dash. Simon won. Leo didn't speak to him for a month. They grew up in the same neighborhood, went to the same college, and eventually worked in the same industry. To an outsider, they were best friends, but in private, they were accountants of each other's lives. They kept a ledger of every promotion, every car, and every vacation. When Leo got married, Simon spent twice as much on his own wedding 6 months later. They weren't living their lives, they were reacting to the other person's life. By age 45, they both had the perfect life. The mansions on the hill, the high-powered titles, the designer suits. But if you asked Leo if he was happy, he'd look at Simon's yard first. "I'm doing better than him," he'd say. That was his only definition of joy, being ahead. They stopped sharing secrets and started sharing statistics. "How's the portfolio, Simon?" "Up 12%, Leo." "And yours?" 15. A lie. It was actually 10. But the lie felt better than the truth of being behind. They were two marathon runners who had forgotten why they started running in the first place. The race stopped abruptly. Not because someone won, but because the track disappeared. Leo was diagnosed first, stage 4. 3 weeks later, Simon was admitted to the same wing for a failing heart. 60 years of sprinting, and they both collapsed at the same time. The expensive suits were replaced by thin blue gowns. The mansions were replaced by 10-by-10 rooms with beige walls. And for the first time in their lives, there was nothing left to compare. One evening, Leo dragged his IV pole down the hallway. He found Simon's room. Simon looked smaller than Leo remembered, grayer. Leo sat in the plastic chair by the bed. For 5 minutes, they just sat in silence. No talk of stocks, no talk of houses. "Simon," Leo said quietly, "do you remember the spelling bee?" Simon let out a weak laugh. "I hated you for a year because of that CHRYSANTHAUM. I only won because I stayed up until 2 a.m. I was terrified of you." Simon looked at him, truly looked at him. "I spent my whole life trying to beat a man who was terrified of me." They realized they had built their entire identities around a shadow. They were two mirrors facing each other, reflecting nothing but the distance between them. Simon passed away 3 days later. Leo followed a week after that. At their funerals, people talked about their success, their wealth, their drive, but no one mentioned the race, because the race only existed in two minds that were now gone. We spend so much time trying to be better than someone else that we forget to be good for ourselves. Comparison is the thief of joy, but it's also the thief of time. And time is the only thing you can't win back, no matter how fast you run. Is there someone you're trying to beat right now? Ask yourself, if you win, what do you actually get? Maybe it's time to stop looking in the mirror and start looking out the window. Subscribe for more stories about the things that truly matter.